In 1970, two friends took a chance. Bill Pryor and Jim Kewley strived to build a business that would ultimately make the world a better place. They set in motion, so many years ago, a journey that led to the creation of a company called Kinetico.
Bill Pryor was, I often describe him as the most creative man I've ever met. He was just unusually creative, and he was a man who thought believed everybody needed to follow a dream and everybody had to be advancing their life. And when he found somebody that shared a dream or had a dream, pursuing it was no issue. We would fund it, and off we go chasing that dream. And that I think was his biggest passion.
I was excited by him because of his dreams. And if I can find people that have dreams similar to mine that fit, we have a very good working relationship. And Jim is a very outgoing, enthusiastic guy. He's full of ideas. I love that enthusiasm.
Bill and I both went to the same college, but Bill graduated 13 years before me, so he was about 14 years older than I was.
They actually were a great combination of energies needed to start a company. You had Bill, who was more the dreamer, and Jim, who was more the pragmatic businessman. And their skills welded together very nicely to keep pushing the company in the right direction.
Bill said that I had this project with a water softener valve, and would you be interested in possibly joining me with this? And I said, well, absolutely I would. And from there, it's all history. When I joined Bill, we were working out of a oversized garage. It was a 40 by 40 foot building. When he first rented that building, leased that building, it was a tire shop. And back in the corner, there was a toilet and a sink, but there was no walls built around it, and they had stacks of tires around it that gave them a little privacy when they used the bathroom back there. It was an interesting place to work, needless to say, in the early days. In October of 1970, he had two drawings which were two different concepts of how a water softener might work. The first thing I did when I got there was to build a prototype of that valve and test it. And in early '71, we were testing it, and we couldn't get it to work at all. And there was no eureka, there was panic. And I used to kid that Billy just said, well, it's your crappy prototype. And I'd respond, no, it wasn't my crappy prototype, it's your stupid design. And we kind of went back and forth that way. And we probably worked from early in the morning to late at night, 7 days a week. And there was an afternoon that we actually got pieces and parts and pistons to move inside of this thing. They were still a long way from being complete. That probably was the biggest eureka moment of the development project. That was a wonderful moment.
They probably were in a great position to build a revolutionary water softener because neither of them knew anything about water softening when they started. And so they came up with a design that was quite unique at the time because they weren't copying anybody else. They were trying to come up with what they thought was the greatest technology.
I think what kept Bill and I going in the early days was a passion for being successful with this valve and a continual belief that it was a feasible project. Another motivation was fear of failure. And we felt fear of failure for many, many years, even beyond the very early years. But it was just that we believed this project was feasible and doable, and we just weren't going to give up on it, and we worked our tails off to make it work. When the Kinetico softener first entered the marketplace, of course, at first we were very low volume and no one even noticed. But one, I think many of them thought we weren't going to make it anyways. But it wasn't long before the competition was noticing. Our very first trade show for Kinetico was in Atlanta, and there was a lot of interest and a lot of excitement around our booth. We were the upstarts, and a lot of them came by to see what we're up to. And I think a lot of them still weren't sure that we ever were really going to accomplish our goal of being a name in the water treatment industry. There was no question in my mind that we were going to be successful with this company. What we didn't know is how much work we still had ahead of us, and there was a lot of work ahead of us.
Bill and Jim had a decision to make in the early 70s, and it would probably have been a much easier road to go to just make that valve and sell the valve. But they made the decision that they wanted to work through dealers. This is a product that is sold, it's not purchased typically. So you need professional dealers who truly understand the business, understand the water chemistry. They have the ability to procure, to market, to sell, and take care of customers, and that's enabled a lot of growth as well. It is foundationally the backbone of our company.
I think from the beginning we recognized that our biggest asset are our employees. It's great to have wonderful products, but having employees to execute what we were trying to accomplish was extremely important to Kinetico at all times.
I'm not sure they set out to create a culture. It sort of just happened. They're technically inquisitive, and so you were always encouraged to try all kinds of new things. And throughout the organization, there was always people trying new things, whether it's in engineering or whether in production or manufacturing. So there was definitely a culture of innovation and trying new things.
Bill and Jim took everybody at face value, and they cared about you. They accepted you, they trusted you, and they knew that if they stood behind you, you'd stand behind them.
The 1970s were the tough years of survival, but the beginning of something special. Bill and Jim created the revolutionary technology that elevated the business from humble upstart to innovative leader in the industry. The 80s were a prosperous era of rapid expansion and growth. Kinetico developed a new generation of products that once again disrupted the industry and brought unprecedented success to the company. The ensuing growth fueled the expansion of the workforce and the construction of new facilities in Newbury, Ohio. By the 1990s, Kinetico had a well-established international presence with foreign subsidiaries in Canada, the United Kingdom, Denmark, and France.
We turn to the water treatment experts at
Bill Pryor and Jim Kewley designed the
from a company called Kinetico.
Votre concessionnaire Kinetico est
safe, clean, crystal clear.
You think about better water, think Kinetico.
And I look at all you people and I realize you're proud of the company and the friends and what you're doing and what goes on I mean, if you sit in your seats there at your table and look to the right and to the left of you, you see people that you like. You see people that are working with you, that you're having fun with, and you're proud of what you're doing, and you're proud of what they're doing. And somehow it's easy for all you folks out there in your seats to look at Jim and me and say, well, those are the guys given an award, but what really is going through your mind is you're proud of yourselves. And Jim and I are proud of you. And the fact is that we didn't plan all this, it just sort of happened. I'd love to be able to tell you that 20 years ago we had in mind what this company was going to do, but we didn't. In fact, I can tell you that I've gone full circle in the way I thought things ought to go on a lot of different issues. And it's been you people that have done this. It's you people doing your jobs and being excited about it and enjoying one another. And I don't want you to forget that. This is our company, all of us together, not just Jim and me. And we did a lot of stupid things, particularly Jim did. As a matter of fact, I think Jim's one of the neatest guys that ever knew in my whole life. And we've been in this for a long time, and from some really bad times to some really good times. And we still get scared every once in a while, but it's still good. In any case, thank all of you a whole lot.